I never thought I'd live to see the day a luxury SUV got swallowed alive by a suburban lawn. But there I was, mug of coffee in hand, watching Tanya's gleaming monster truck sink half a foot into my front yard, like it had just angered some swamp god. She was screaming, cursing her designer heels, sloshing through mud mascara, running down her face, and the best part, every inch of that glorious disaster was perfectly deliciously legal. But let's back up. When I first bought this house 3 years ago in the sleepy little town of Maplewood Crest, I had one dream. Peace. I work from home. I love quiet. And honestly, I wanted the kind of lawn that old men slow down to admire. Thick, lush, photoshopped-looking grass. No weeds, no patches. Perfection. And for a while, it was exactly that. Mornings spent watering, afternoons spent trimming. It was my sanctuary. Until Tanya moved in down the street. Now, Tanya wasn't your average neighbor. No, no. She was an ex-real estate agent who still carried herself like she owned every square inch of this town. Loud, demanding, and worst of all, she knew everyone on the HOA board because her sister ran it. Yeah, the fix was in before I even knew it. The first time Tanya parked her yacht-sized SUV halfway onto my lawn, I thought it was an accident. I left a friendly note. "Hey, neighbor, please be mindful of the grass. Thanks." The second time, she crushed my sprinkler head, and when I confronted her politely, she laughed. Laughed. She said, "It's just a lawn, honey. Try growing a backbone." That's when I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a declaration of war. I appealed to the HOA, hoping for some backup. Nope. Stonewalled. Turns out, Tanya's sister, Melinda, wasn't just on the HOA board, she was the board. 3 of the 5 members were her golf buddies. Conflict of interest? Absolutely. But trying to call it out, you'd have better luck convincing a cat to take a bath. Everyone told me to let it go. You'll just stress yourself out, they said. But I don't let things go. Especially when someone disrespects my hard work, my home and my right to not have tire tracks crisscrossing my front yard. It wasn't about grass anymore. It was about dignity. One rainy Wednesday morning, karma threw me a bone. I watched from my kitchen window as Tanya's SUV hit a soft patch of grass and sank, tires spinning, mud flying everywhere. Tanya stomping around, shrieking at the earth like it had personally insulted her. And that's when it hit me. If she wanted to treat my lawn like a parking lot, maybe I needed to give her the full parking lot experience, complete with hidden costs. That night, I started researching. Turns out under city law, I was allowed to create a bioswale, a water retention landscaping project for environmental sustainability. As long as it didn't involve permanent structures, I could dig, drain, and replant however I pleased. And so the swamp trap was born. For weeks, while Tanya slept, I worked. I lashed underground drainage. I installed a custom basin filled with water-absorbing clay, engineered soil and turf that looked solid but would shift under heavy weight. I even added decorative frog statues and solar lights to camouflage it all. Above ground, perfectly manicured grass. Underneath, a hidden bog that thirsted for hubris. It took 2 good rains to prime the trap. And then, just like clockwork, Tanya roared her SUV up the curb and sank hard. The second her front wheels hit my secret swamp, the ground gave way. Her tires spun helplessly, flinging sod and mud into the air like a blender with no lid. I sat on my porch sipping coffee, savoring every delicious second. She screamed bloody murder, called a tow truck, and guess what? That tow truck got stuck too. By the next morning, my lawn was legendary. Grainy cell phone videos of the great SUV sinkhole were bouncing all over the neighborhood group chats. But Tanya wasn't the type to back down. No, she escalated. She started floating rumors about my yard being a health hazard. Talked about forming a beautification committee to restore neighborhood standards. She even tried handing me a pamphlet listing acceptable lawn aesthetics like she was some kind of turf dictator. I played along, smiled, nodded, and quietly filed for additional eco-friendly upgrades through the Green Sustainability Incentive Program, fully endorsed by the HOA, because Melinda only skimmed the paperwork, not realizing she was signing off on the expansion of my swampy masterpiece. With official approval locked in, I turned the swamp trap into a full-blown ecological project. More hidden basins, strategic plantings of wetland grass, solar lights that made it look adorable at night, even a motion sensor speaker that croaked like a frog when someone got too close. Tanya tried to fight back. She filed complaints. Noise, light pollution, even excess wildlife, because of a few frogs. Every time I had documentation ready, photos, emails, permits, she couldn't touch me. She got desperate. Late one night, my hidden trail cam caught her tossing gravel onto my yard, trying to stabilize it. The next morning, I turned the footage over to the city inspector. Tanya got slapped with a fine for unauthorized landscaping interference. By now, Tanya's reputation was crumbling faster than her tires in my swamp. So I decided to finish this the only way, fitting with a swamp party. I printed bright green flyers with a cartoon frog wearing sunglasses and posted them everywhere. Mailboxes, bulletin boards, even slipped one into Tanya's own mailbox. You're invited to the first annual Swamp Bash. Come celebrate, where Tanya's SUV learned to swim. The turnout legendary. Families brought lawn chairs and frog-themed snacks. Kids splashed in the edges of the swamp garden. Someone set up karaoke. Another neighbor brought a popcorn machine. It wasn't just a party. It was a festival of community spite. And sure enough, right before sunset, Tanya showed up, oversized sunglasses, tight jaw, stomping around the perimeter like she was casing the joint. When she saw the "In Memory of Tanya's Front Bumper" plaque I had placed next to a decorative canoe, she nearly exploded. But she couldn't make a scene. Not with half the neighborhood filming her every twitch. She stormed off, defeated once again by her own arrogance. A week later, a "For Sale" sign popped up on Tanya's lawn. No grand farewell, no apology, just silence. Exactly the way she hated it. When the moving truck finally rolled away, I left a little goodbye gift on her porch, a ceramic frog with a tiny shovel grinning under a "Good Riddance" banner. The best part, After all the chaos, my lawn was thriving. Healthiest it had ever been recognized by the local environmental club, featured in a neighborhood walking tour. And Tanya, she was nothing more than a cautionary tale. Now proof that sometimes when you mess with the wrong neighbor, the earth itself fights back. And I gotta say, it was beautiful. If you've ever had to deal with a petty HOA, an entitled neighbor, or someone who thought the rules didn't apply to them, tell me your story in the comments. I would love to hear how you handled it, or how you wish you could have. And hey, if you enjoyed this little saga, hit like, subscribe, and maybe drop a emoji in the comments so we know you're part of the Swamp Squad